Hello and welcome. This is Worldview at the Hindu with me, Suhasini Heather. Each week we take a look at some of the big global stories the world is watching. This week it's right here at the boundaries.
China says the disengagement of Chinese and Indian troops along the Himalayan border in Ladakh has now begun.
हमारे इस अप्रोच तथा सस्टेन्ड टॉक्स के फलस्वरूप चीन के साथ पैंगोंग लेक के नॉर्थ एवं साउथ बैंक पर डिसएंगेजमेंट का समझौता हो गया है।
India-China agreed to disengage troops along Pangong Lake area in Ladakh.
After an unprecedented year in India-China tensions and deaths at the line of actual control, the two sides are disengaging at a rapid pace. Is this process credible? Will we return to status quo ante as it's known? And can India-China bilateral ties ever recover from 2020? In the past week, in fact, the scenes from the line of actual control have been stunning. Not only are we seeing Chinese troops dismantling structures, packing up their equipments, walking out of areas around Ladakh's Pangong Lake that they have occupied for nearly a year, we actually saw for the first time the extent of their incursion. Indian troops too are withdrawing, most notably from the Kailash ranges of Razangla and Rechinla that they climbed last August. Remember, that was a move that took China completely by surprise, and it actually gave Indian troops an advantage in the conflict. According to the GOCNC, in fact, that was the point in the last year that the two sides came to the brink of war. So what are the reasons for China to decide to withdraw at this point? There's been much speculation, and we can think of 4 or 5 reasons. Firstly, by standing firm, matching Chinese troops man for man, and taking the Kailash range heights that we spoke about, the Indian army certainly created the conditions for a climb down from China. The fact that Indian soldiers stayed up at these heights despite the bitter cold, the bitter winter, strengthened the belief that the PLA's ingress could now go no further. The killings in Galwan, where India lost 20 soldiers. China has now announced it did lose 4 soldiers. It could have been more. This also raised the costs of the conflict for those watching in Beijing. And diplomatically, China faced India's anger. There was a complete breakdown in relations, and a situation that would have made it much more difficult to go on as if it was business as normal. India raised its public diplomacy, stepped up its engagement with the Quad, particularly with the United States, all of which made it fairly uncomfortable. The government then took economic measures as well, including the banning of apps like TikTok, but others, putting restrictions on Chinese investment into India and slowing down the procedures for Chinese imports that were coming in. Remember, through it all, one of the reasons why it has been possible to disengage is because diplomacy has continued. Bilateral diplomacy has continued despite the fact that there was some help from Russia when it came to providing a venue for the two sides to speak. Prime Minister Modi and President Xi didn't up the ante, didn't up the rhetoric beyond a point. That too made it easier. And remember, while there has been much criticism of the Prime Minister's decision to say that neither have Chinese troops entered Indian territory nor are they occupying them, the fact is that that too created a space for flexibility from both sides and ensured that the situation did not flare up. Even so, experts are warning it is just too early to declare victory or even to declare peace. Take a look at some of the build-up to these talks, for example. China has agreed to disengagement before, so it remains to be seen whether this disengagement process will be taken to its conclusion. Remember, throughout 2020, after meetings between the core commanders, the National Security Advisor, External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar, and his counterpart on the Chinese side, Wang Yi, China agreed to disengage and then didn't follow through. So this time the proof will be in the pudding or in the pullout. In the negotiations, India did have to give up some of its key demands. For example, the demand that the disengagement be across all sectors of the line of actual control. Instead, India agreed to this sequential one. It also dropped its opposition to build buffer zones or keep no man's land, because that increases the area that comes under dispute. So as a result, while the Pangong Lake disengagement has been nearly completed, Chinese troops still occupy areas in Depsang, Gogra Plains, Hot Springs, where they have built sizable infrastructure. Dismantling that will remain a major challenge, and talks are on for that and those are due next week. So that again is something to wait and watch before declaring peace or victory or anything else. Even once the troops do disengage, the question is, how quickly can they return to the standoff point? Given the speed with which the PLA amassed its troops at the LAC in April last year, it certainly desires to be watched closely as well. After the disengagement at Doklam, for example, in 2017, the Chinese troops did disengage, they did move back, but they came back after vacating the standoff site to areas around the standoff site and now dominate much of the area. The truth is that until we are clear about just why China actually carried out this aggression to begin with, it will be difficult to predict the future of the situation at the line of actual control. What we do know is that there will be a lasting impact, and that is that Indian troops will have to be extra vigilant, man much more of the LAC than they have done in the last 50 years, and continue to keep an eye on the LOC with Pakistan. They will need more resources, possibly even at the cost of other military and maritime commitments, and that is significant. Much will depend on how quickly Indian and Chinese diplomats and diplomacy moves now, and whether we see the leaders speaking to each other or even meeting as they did after the Doklam standoff when they met in Wuhan and then in Mamallapuram. Now, The Hindu has a number of opinion pieces and podcasts we'd like you to listen into, and certainly most diplomatic experts continue to feel that it will be hard to see ties return to the past for the foreseeable future. Listen in to in-house China expert Anant Krishnan, defense correspondent Dinkar Perry, as well as Vijeta Singh, who's been watching the line of control situation. I also did two significant interviews with former Foreign Secretary Shyam Saran, as well as the former US National Security Council Director Lisa Curtis. We hope you will tune in to those. Thank you for all your comments. Many of you had written in asking for an explainer on the India-China situation. Raghav, SNO1, all your comments and your questions certainly helped us put this together. So join us again next week for Worldview at The Hindu. From the team here, thanks for watching.